Shall we get through this? Alright, so we're live again today. Today, obviously published day, we have a new article to talk about. We're going to answer some Atlassian community questions. A bit of programming note, today's stream is actually going to be really short. I'm only able to for 30 minutes. I have another engagement this afternoon that I got to take care of, so it is what it is. But we'll still hear. We'll talk about the post, talk about this app extender for Jira, a little more detail. I am really stoked about getting this app out there. We'll talk a bit about how the blog's been doing, how it did for the year compared to previous years. Take a look at all that and just see how things go. So this app, extender for Jira. I'm really excited to bring this to you, mainly because of how I found out about this. So here it is. It's the day before Christmas Eve, the 23rd. I finished up with work. I'm just chilling out. We actually go to check the store to make sure there wasn't anything we still needed before work was off proper, or the stores were closed properly, so we know we can make it through the weekend. And as we're going through the store, I just happen to check my email, and I see an email from a Jira admin out there. And here's the thing, I get emails and messages and all this all the time from marketplace partners who really want me to review their app or give some thoughts on some of their developments that they're working on, or just generally consult. It happens all the time, and all the ultimate hope here is I see something I'm excited about and I'll post it, preferably without cost to them. So I've never been approached by just someone who uses Jira day in and day out with an app that they love because it makes their life easier. And that's exactly what we had here, and that really left an impression on me. If you really want me to look at your app, have a user suggest it to me. That's definitely going to get my attention a lot easier, and definitely hold it there. So yeah, this app's out of the blue. I check on this user, this Jira admin, make sure they're on the up and up, confirm who they are, all that. And as I'm looking into the app over the weekend, I'm like, I actually have it installed on my dev instance, so I'm going to show it to you guys, show you what the functionality is, everything going on there. So the app extender for Jira. This is an administrator side app. That means this is there for you guys, the administrators, people running Jira. Is not something that your users are ever going to see directly. That being said, every quality of life improvement you get gives you more time to focus on their needs. So they do see the end benefit of this. That's just not directly impacting them. Just another note here, something I mentioned in the blog, Phil, I should mention again, this app is only available for the server and data center instances. This is not a cloud app. I don't know if there's some problem with bringing it to the cloud or what, but it's currently not available there. That being said, the functionality they do have for server and data center, if you're running one of those instances, I feel you should definitely consider this. Now, on the surface, looking at it, it looks like your normal workflow app. It has new conditions, new validators, new post functions, your normal stuff. If you have JSU, if you have Jira Suite Utilities, or JMWE, JMWE, or any of the other workflow apps, you probably have many of these same functions already built in or already available to you. The workflow functions would just had me okay, and how do you distinguish yourself? And I already know the answer they're going to say because I've already heard it 3 different times. No, what really grabbed my attention was the overhaul they did to the validators in conditions. So I have this nice little swipe transition on the blog here where I show you the screen before I enable the plugin. This is your normal transition screen where you go in, start working on conditions, etc. We've all seen this. However, this is what it looks like after the app is installed. And the thing to note here is all these up here and all these right here. And there's one that I can show that's right here. If we actually go down here, we could show you full detail about these. What these allow you to do is manipulate these transitions even further, even templatize them so you could reuse them other places. Very powerful stuff to make your life easier for the workflows. So you could copy them to a clipboard and paste them somewhere else. You could download them to a file and move them to a completely different Jira instance. Things to let you do with the post functions, the conditions, and the validators, which you're going to get tired of hearing me say that. Absolutely outstanding. Just making your life easier there. And that got me really excited. Now, part of this I mentioned before is a post function template. So, if you're like me, when you're in Jira, you have your favorite tips and your favorite tricks. Things that you know work well, and when someone asks you, hey, can you do X, you already know how to do. What this app allows you to do is save that as a template, so you could use it in 16 different projects, 27 different transitions, whatever, and only have to edit it once if you need to edit it. That struck me as really powerful and definitely saving you a lot of time in that situation. Because I've been there where I had a transition set for whatever reason it was set. And that's not how you should do it, by the way, but it was set to a specific user rather than some other way of doing it. And I had to go in because that person loved the company and the workflow is then borked. Which is why you don't tie a workflow function to an individual user. That breaks Jira. But if you have it as a function, instead of going everywhere that user is mentioned and modifying it, you just have to modify it in one place. Yeah, it sucks that the thing was broken, but you can fix it faster in that case. So yeah, the template function was definitely something that caught my eye just because I had been there. But another thing, and I really didn't even see this mentioned in their documentation, but when I load up to add a new condition, because when I do these, I actually do use the app in my test instance. I do run it myself, see what's going on there. And I saw this overhaul of the add condition screen. And I saw this because I had, before I installed the plugin, added another post function, or another condition actually. So I knew what it looked like before, and I'm like, oh, this has changed. And it's a minor tweak. But the thing that really impressed me is this first column. You could star your favorite conditions, validators, post functions, what have you. That the ones you use the most, you could favorite them and have them readily accessible. The second thing I really liked is it put what app each of these conditions was from. There are subtle differences between all the workflow apps. I've said it before, I'll say it again. And sometimes you want, even though two functions appear similar, you want one from JMWE instead of one from JSU just because of those functionality differences. This lets you find those fast. So I didn't see this mentioned anywhere in the documentation, but when I saw this during my testing, I wanted to call it out because yes. Now, the biggest feature for me, I think, above anything else, and actually I already have this loaded up in our demo instance, is the workflow documentation. Now, I am one to preach documentation. Document first, document in the middle, document last. Make sure whatever you did was written down somewhere. That being said, if you're so busy writing documentation, you can't get to your actual job. There's got to be a balance there. And where does that balance come in? Well, what this app lets you do, and what really caught my eye, is with a single button click, it gives you your documentation. Full workflow documentation, down to the transition, down to the transition properties. No one pays attention to this feature of Jira, and it is a crazy powerful feature, but no one notices it. So if you have something set up here and it's not documented, people won't look there. This captures that. I know I sound like a sales guy here, but this is what sold me on this app. Above all else, this detailed of documentation produced magically. All I did was push one button. I did nothing before the stream to prepare this. I clicked that one button, you saw me do it live, and here it is. Transition IDs. Minor thing, but if you're doing some sort of integration, you need to know that because that's how the API calls that transition for an issue. So yeah, this is excellent. Excellent app. Something I definitely recommend. I will make one note here, and I did mention it in the blog, and I really used the heck out of this transition feature today. But this is documentation, as we saw. One-click documentation, incredibly good documentation. This is what it looked like after I copied it to Confluence. Did not survive that too well. And I might be crazy, but I don't think it's a stretch to assume people are documenting their stuff in Confluence if they're running Jira. It's right there. They integrate well together. They work well together, and people know it. So the fact that the Confluence integration here was not as strong, really definitely a down for me. Something I was not happy to see, but that essentially gives us three options. When you're in the workflow, you have three options for export. Either export as a PDF file, or a JPEG file, or a PNG file. Well, these two are images, which means all these links, all these clicks, where you can actually click back to Jira and see the actual item, all those don't work anymore. These fancy sides tell you what you're looking at don't work anymore in a image. I mean, they'll be there, but they don't scroll with you. You lose a lot of context when this is an image. Okay, flip that over. Okay, so image is an option for the reason stated. What about the PDF? I, for one, rarely click into a PDF in Confluence unless it says a big bold letters, hey, this is exactly what you need, this is what you're looking for. I much prefer to have content searchable and ready in Confluence. That doesn't mean have it as attachment, that means have it in a page itself. Because who knows, this may be the key to solving a downtime or key to solving an urgent issue. And I need to get my hands on this documentation fast, and don't have time to be looking through every PDF on the instance, especially if I do every workflow on a large instance. So I was not happy to see that the Confluence integration on this particular feature was not there. Not something I think would be too difficult to work on, but it's something I would definitely love to see them work on. That being said, for the whole app, that was the worst of it. It was a really great experience otherwise. Things just worked. And can't say enough about that. Well, brings us to the next next topic. I got a comment over the past week. It was on an old article, and I don't think they realized when they commented that it was an old article, and things have changed even since then. But it was saying something along the lines of, hey, Jira is not that great. They keep upping the price for us, and honestly, year over year, 500% price hike is just, I'd be laughed out of finance. So no, we're going to be looking for alternatives, and honestly, that's fair. If you're facing a 500% price hike and you cannot get that approved, what are your options? At that point, it's almost cheaper to find an alternative, test it out, migrate to it, than it is to stick to Jira. And that's the balancing act Atlassian is constantly having to do, is how expensive can we make it so that people use our product without making it so expensive that it's worthwhile for them to migrate to something else. And I get it, it's not a fun time to be a Jira admin right now. The prices have only been doing one thing for a while, and that's going straight up. So I decided to put the price analysis I did for this on here, and I looked for both their server prices and data center prices, and I was not too impressed with what I saw. The prices increase obviously as you go up in tiers, but they don't keep pace. So what you end up doing when you normalize it to a price per user is, if you're on a 10 user tier, which you can't get anymore, thank you Atlassian, but you have it, that's what you need, you pay $80. That's $8 per user. That is more than I paid for the base Jira per user. I mean, granted it was, but even on the other tiers, that's almost ridiculous, that price per user. But it's what it is, and it goes down the more you go up. The larger tier you get, the more this company rewards you. And I did the analysis on data center prices. Of course, their tier starts at 50, and I saw the same thing. For 50 users, the lowest tier, you pay $5 per user, which is borderline ridiculous. It's nowhere near as bad as 8, but it is up there. And it goes down as the user count goes up. So when I saw this, I had to do a sanity check. I pulled the prices for Script Runner Data Center, put them through the exact same analysis, and what I found was the exact opposite. As your now this wasn't as nearly as linear as it is here. There were fluctuations up and down as you traveled across, but the higher tier you went, the more in general per person you were paying. And that makes sense to me. You're on a larger instance, so you probably can afford a larger budget, first off, especially when you normalize it per user. And secondly, it's going to be a more complex endeavor because you're supporting more users using the same tool. You're going to need more support money, therefore a larger cost per user makes sense. This pricing structure, when normalized per user, did not make sense to me. Hello, kitty. I got a visitor in the office. But that being said, would I pay for it? If this was my own money, which, being the Jira guy, it is my own money, would I put money down on this? And the answer I came to at the end of it is, even knowing it's $80 for a 10 user license, I probably still would pay for it. I don't agree with their pricing scheme. I think that starting out is a bit high, but for the features, I do still think it's worth it. So that brings me to the final part of the review I do every time. Is I do a user, or I have a typo there. I forgot to update something. I do a tier rank based off what I feel the value of this product is. I do need to update that, but that's another task. So I seriously sat there for almost 20 minutes. Thankfully, I was off work this week, so I could sit there and stare at it for a few minutes and not have to worry about getting back to work. But yeah, I had to sit there and stare and think about it, because in my mind, it's about halfway between the S and A. It definitely belongs to an A rank. That's definitely the floor there. The functionality, the automatic work, or the documentation of the workflows, all that made it worthwhile. So it was definitely going to get A at minimum, but did it go up to an S? And when I looked at everything it did, the overhaul of the different functions within the workflow, the documentation, just the functions it adds, yeah, I definitely think it went above and beyond. I definitely see this changing the way I do certain things within Jira, and that's kind of the threshold I look at when I'm determining what tier it is. So this one got only the third ever S rank. I don't want to get to the point where I'm getting soft and giving those out. Those should be rare treats in my mind, but this definitely rose up to that occasion. Say hello, kitty. I love the cat, but she hates getting kissed, so she's should leave me alone for about 5 minutes. Alright, so as I said, I showed you the different workflows. Let's go into a transition and see how this looks actually going in here. Re-authenticate, because how dare I spend 5 minutes talking to you? I thought you'd leave me alone for 5 minutes. Apparently Kitty really likes to be on stream. Maybe Daddy was just talking too much. Kitty, no. No keyboardness. I gotta draw a line when you start playing with the keyboard. Alright, so first thing we see are, again, these tabs up here. We talked about them. We could add something to the library. It's now in my library. I could export it as a file. I could copy it. I could do whatever I need to. Move it around. It's there. I have it available. I could also create a new template from this and have a one-stop shop where I can edit this anywhere. I am literally online. I cannot talk right now. I'm going to be right back, guys. I'll talk to you later. Sorry about that. Wife calling real quick. I didn't want to, I want to make sure everything was alright, make sure there wasn't a need for me to go offline. But everything's alright. We're just arranging for things. I do need to figure out a supper order to send to her, but that's a whole nother thing. I'll probably do that while I'm talking through the last of this. But yeah, just the overhaul of functionality here really caught my attention. The fact that I could copy and paste things was nice, but I've seen it in other workflows. The documentation was really what drove it over the edge for me. So definitely something I hope you guys take a look at. Really impressed with this particular app. I can understand, having reviewed it now, why it was sent to me by a user. It's just something that definitely helps out. So, what to get for supper? God, all these pop-ups, just let me get to a menu. Okay. Take a picture of this real quick. I'm not going to let you suffer through this. I'll be right back again. Alright. So, I should be getting off now, but I'm not ready to. So, check a few things real quick. Alright. So, questions. Let's look at some questions from the Atlassian community. Let's see if we get one or two under our belt today. Why participants are not being added with email CC. I've received reports from customers already enrolled in the project as service desk customers that when they are sending email requests and CC other people, people are not being added as participants. I've already checked customer mission notifications saying everything looks okay. Actually, I applied the suggestion from this post. We are still receiving tickets without participants. I don't know if I'm missing some permission, question mark? Let's look at the post they are referencing. Well, that seems like a reasonable answer. Honestly, I'm not sure, and that deals with a lot more than just Jira, so I'm gonna leave that be for the moment. Service desk issues again. It's definitely a service desk heavy night here. I am not surprised, honestly. Looking at the numbers for this week, it is not as good as it normally is, and that's to be expected. People are rightfully taking their break right now and not thinking about Jira. The only people thinking about Jira are people on service desk who have customers who are not going to wait till the new year, which is late December. It's the greatest thing to hear is let's table this till next year. Yeah, I deleted a project, but the key is still existing. Cloud version, how can I delete the key? Alright, so what I'm thinking going on here, when I first read it, is Zeev Layak. It says, hello, I deleted a project and I'm trying to open a project with the same name and key, and it says the key exists. I am on cloud version. How can I delete key? Thanks, Zevik. Or Zevik. John Funk has already answered this. Friend of the blog, John. Good shout out to you there. Hi Z's. Welcome to the Atlassian community. It is not possible right now on server as there's an open feature request to provide that functionality. You can vote for and follow along with it here. The functionality exists to reuse it after deletion in Jira Cloud. Okay. Now, that's a great answer if they're in Jira server, but they specified they're already on Jira Cloud and they're having problems with this. So, love you, John, but I'm not sure how helpful that answer is. I'm not voting for that answer. Okay, Andy Gladstone. Welcome to community. Post an answer here as well as your question posted 2 times. Project keys cannot be reused. Once created, even if the space or project is deleted, they still remain in metadata for your instance installation cannot be reused or reassigned. Here's an article relating to project management and keys. Let's go ahead and open this up. Changing a project's key, things to consider. You won't be able to create a new project with the old project key. This is documentation for just Jira in general. Oh, Jira Work Management. Oh. So that is Jira Cloud. And yeah, that is definitely something to consider. So yeah, Andy's definitely getting a vote up for me. Baby and Lim, a fellow community leader. Welcome to community. There's a workaround here. Regards, Fabian. Alright, let's check this workaround. Said even if we don't answer a question in the community, just having this definitely helps as far as getting learning Jira, because you're seeing the pros out there answering questions even if you don't get to them first, and sometimes they know stuff you don't. Most of the time, sometimes there are days where I still feel like a complete noob. I get it, I'm the Jira guy, but there are days. Alright. Oh, so Atlassian team answered this one back in 2014. Yeah, it looks like their workaround is to work with a database that just doesn't work when you're on cloud because you don't get access to the database. So yeah, I think the most helpful answer is Andy Gladstone. And I think what this user is going to have to do here is definitely work through and just find another key to use. Projects are not something to be recycled lightly. Alright, back to the community. And let's see if we get one question in. Let's find something that doesn't have 5 or 6 different answers on it already. Oh. Let's see. Atlassian Marketplace. Jira Dark Mode. I won't say how I know this, but some people at a new job may have clued me in. Alright, so hi Ariano. Welcome to community. You'll mostly find people like us who are Jira users, administrators, who like to help others. Their problems here. In your case, this is not a feature that is supported natively. However, you can get the job done with as an app found in the marketplace. God, I cannot capitalize today to save my life. This is the same thing when I was editing the post this morning. Could not capitalize for the life of me. Alright, so they are on server version. This does support server version. Now, they could not be on server version, just be really confused, but let's try and at least help them out. And one answered. Go for one more. I'm feeling one more. I've known this for 8 months now, Atlassian. Can I please stop being congratulated for it every time I re-log in? So many names I know. Alright. Okay. Possibility to integrate Talk.to in Jira systems. Hello, my company has recently implemented Talk.to live chat to communicate with external clients through our web. Talk.to has the internal ticketing system which our management system wants or interested to be forwarded and automatically transferred to our Jira service environment. This is crucial as our teams can work on issues in Jira which only have been reported through live chat options. What are the available options possible to automate the transfer of tickets from Talk to the Jira system? We already tried email forwarding from Talk to Jira, and also webhooks do not have in-depth knowledge about webhooks. We prefer to have direct automation instead of third-party software like Zapier, which has restrictions on several points which we require essentially. Well, you're going to need some sort of middleware here. Because webhooks are not meant to create issues in Jira. They're meant to tell you about issues in Jira. That sounds mean. I don't want to be mean. I want to encourage people. Yes, I do this a lot. Did I type way twice? Alright. Let me see. Jira Service Management Cloud. Jira Service Management Cloud API. post that I'll read out. Hi Neros, and welcome to community. Fortunately, the only way I know to get this working is to have some sort of middleware that takes in a request from TalkTo and converts them into API calls that Jira can understand. I agree not to use Zapier. They are the worst for middleware. If you've ever tried to use them for anything, I'm sorry. I've not had a pleasant experience with them as middleware. But continue on. But the only other option I could think of is some sort of custom development. That's unfortunately where I think I've got my favorite tools for this kind of custom development that would be able to call, receive the request in from Zapier, either a webhook request or something like that, and then send that out to Jira via API call. Node.js I think has some functionality for that, as well as Python. I mean, you could do anything in Python. That's like saying you could breathe. But yeah, that's the only thing I could think of there. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to call this stream. I've got to get going, but I do thank you for showing up. If you're watching this, be sure to leave a comment. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to be trying to stream once a week at the very least, maybe more if I could help it. We'll see how all that works out, but definitely do that. In the new year, I've got plans to start experimenting with several other things, especially shorts. That is the big thing on YouTube right now, and I'd love to get involved in that. If you're on Twitch, follow me. That way you'll be notified when I go live. I'm definitely looking to expand my live streaming and in-person, virtually speaking, presence in the new year, so you all are a big part of that. I'll talk to you guys next time.